well, managing to get himself onto the front and
hear or try to hear Sean Kelly, and that will be available in Europe and Asia Pacific except for Japan, China and New Zealand. So there's a lot of racing going on, and Magnus and I will be back on Sunday with the second race here of the Bengal Cycling Cup, which is the Grand Prix Montserrat. So you've got your weekend sorted out here on GCN Plus with Strade Bianche and Paris-Nice and Montserrat. Back to the racing. 13 seconds for Campenaerts, 15k to go.
We're just turning on to the cobblestone section and up the climb, and Van der Poel making a very, very late move and late braking into this corner as well, managing to get himself onto the front as Campenaerts is trying to stay away, but that gap has really shrunk with the chase of the peloton to get into this particular section.
Yeah, it's the Côte de la Roquette that we are doing right now. And then straight onto the Chemin de Villers with Victor Campenaerts still leading the Belgian rider of Quebeca Assos. And he still gives it everything. He seems to be increasing the lead just slightly. This is the end for Sepp van Marken. Does he have a flat?
Yeah, front flat, I think.
Yeah, front, yeah. That is sad for Sepp van Marken. Front flat there for the Belgian rider. He's out of the race, out of the competition here, and he seems very relaxed about it, Magnus. No frustration here, no throwing around bikes, not even bringing his bike computer onto the next bike. He knows that it's over.
Yeah, he does. Getting back into the front group here again is going to be incredibly difficult to do. So, you know, he seems to be very unfortunate with a lot of these things happening at the wrong moment, Sepp van Marken, and crazy crashes that happen for him. You know, it's very unlucky in a lot of instances, I think.
Yeah, just like Sylvain Dillier, who broke his collarbone on Sunday in Kuurne-Brussel-Kuurne, and that was the third time in 3 years for the Swiss rider. That's bad luck for you. But yeah, Sepp van Marken has a history of crashing or taking out or mechanicals in very important moments in especially the Tour of Flanders. It never really clicked for him, and well, this of course will not discourage him as much as having a mechanical in the Tour of Flanders, but still he was there in the mix. Well, Victor Campenaerts is caught by a group with, of course,
Dimitri Klaes, isn't it? That's coming across.
Dimitri Klaes. Dimitri Klaes, who had a very late contract with this team. He was on Cofidis, Dimitri Klaes, and well, he managed to get one of those places on Quebeca Assos when they secured funding for the future. Has a top 10 twice in a Tour of Flanders. One particular year, very emotional year, after his teammate Antoine Dumoutier died 5 years ago now. He basically gave his all. He crashed, he collapsed after the finish line in tears, but he had a top 10 in the Tour of Flanders, his first. Very nice guy, and of course made for the classics here. Leading at the moment is Florian Sénéchal. He has won this race before, and well, him leading this group, Magnus, indicates that the Koenig Quickstep are probably going for somebody else.
Well, possibly, or you know, they're just covering the moves all of the time and not necessarily riding hard on the front, but just making sure that they're not missing out on anything. And as soon as the next guy goes, you've got Tim de Klerk there covering as well, and Victor Campenaerts again. So yeah, I don't think this race has seen its sort of final composition of riders that go into the finish, but just spot Degenkolb there on the back of that group as well. There
he is. I read this fantastic caption at one of the amazing Omloop het Nieuwsblad galleries, and it says Tim de Klerk doing Tim de Klerk things.
Yep.
And that's what he does. And I've seen the peloton about, I think, 8-9 times on Saturday, And every time Tim de Klerk was leading that bunch, and every time he was smiling, it might have been suffering, but it looked like smiling. He seems to be enjoying his work a lot. And he gets a lot of appreciation for it as well.
Yeah, he does. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he is the ultimate...
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Attack by Dries de Bond. This is the two-pronged attack, maybe by Alpecin Phoenix, Magnus?
Well, they just keep on picking the right moments here, and that was a great opportunity to do an attack, and Dries de Bond spotted it nicely, and is now trying to open up a gap again, and it's that Campenaerts again.
It was that moment that everybody was kind of looking at each other, wasn't it? It's like, what are we going to do? And that is the moment that you really need to go. But
yeah,
we are 2.5 kilometers from the next, twosome of sectors with the Côte de Nonette and the Côte de Calvaire, 2 climbs. So that is that's going to be an important point as well.
Yeah, and Campenaerts has made that attack as well, so he is clearly committed to this now, and everything that he's got. And great to see that he's able to back up the efforts, because he did a long solo effort and then got reeled in and has covered 1 or 2 moves already, and again back up here. So Campenaerts has got great legs.
They have a new feature here in this race, and that is that the viewers can actually choose the most aggressive rider. There's a poll going out between 30 and 10k to go. So at this moment, I think Victor Campenaerts has that one in the bag. This is an interesting rider, by the way, Magnus, leading for Intermarché Vanti, Améde Gent, who was second in 2020 and also second in 2019. And of course, maybe you remember him from that attack in Milan-San Remo. Yeah. Where he almost, pulled it off. Almost
pulled it off, exactly, yeah. No, another great rider, and it's good to see a team that's been building over the years here now with Intermarché Wanty-Gobert really getting better and better for every season, and more competitive, and now having taken a step up to World Tour level. The next couple of seasons now is going to be really important for them, but I do think they have the backup behind them, and they're building on some great young talents as well.
Well, Tim de Klerk is Tim de Klerking it all back together here, which means that the attack is neutralized by Dries de Bond and Victor Campenaerts. Still a lot of riders from UNOX again. There's another attack going. This is Dimitri Kleijs. And we are going towards that cobble section. 2 riders of Sport Vlaanderen Baloise. One of them is, I think, Kenny de Ketelen, the track rider, also a former Madison World Champion. Almost twice, if the jury was a little bit more on their side in Colombia a few years ago. But that's a whole different story. It seems like the motorbikes here are incredibly helpful for the attackers. We go on to the next climb and the next cobbles in, a few seconds from now.
Yeah, I think the motorbikes are struggling to actually stay clear of the riders with the tight corners that are here. You know, the riders, when they're committing fully to this.
Whoa. Look at that. Sepp van Mark managed to get his way back. This is good for him. He might have had some help, of course, which is, sometimes allowed if you have a mechanical. Because this seems rather quick, to be honest.
Regardless, it's going to take an awful lot out of him to get himself back into the race again. So be interesting to see what he's got left in the tank when we get in towards the final section of cobblestones, which I'm expecting a big move from a couple of riders. And
I think this is Wisniewski, by the way, the big Polish rider, and it's Lucas Wisniewski. There was this semi-cobbled race in Zeeland, province of the Netherlands, a few years ago. It only happened like once or twice, and it was horrible weather that day. I think it's like 15 riders finished it, and he was part of that. I always remember that he was part of the Koenig or Quick Step back then, and of course he has some strength. And look at the gap that he's opening up here. One of the Sport Vlaanderen Baloise riders trying to bridge across here, but the peloton is not far away. This was kind of the last penultimate option to really make a different mechanism. The next one is the Rue de Bellevue. That's the last one.
Yeah, and the Rue de Bellevue is going to be more of who's who of the who's got the legs and the ability on the cobblestones, and you know, it's this has been a hard race, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily take the hardest of courses to make a difficult race. The fact that it's been so fast all the time is what makes this a difficult race, and you can see on every rider that they're all suffering in here now, and it's coming down to just the sheer speed of the race today.
In penultimate position in this group is Olaf Kooi, who made a late move to the World Tour team because, well, Tom Dumoulin is on a break and Mike Teunis is injured again, unfortunately for him. And Olaf Kooi had a great omloop at Nieuwsblad. He's really fast, and he's still in this group. Maybe he's biding his time there at the back of the peloton, or maybe he's just timing it to perfection, but let's see what he can do. We just get confirmation of the Sport Vlaanderen Valoise riders, and that is a name that's, well, even difficult for me. I think it's Cedric Bulens. What do you think, Magnus, being I think Flemish too?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
There we have two riders, and one of the Bingoal Wallonie-Bruxelles riders joined them. Of course, it's an important race for them as well. Intermarché-Wanty being a team from the French-speaking region of Belgium. But the same goes from Bingoal Wallonie-Bruxelles. This is actually the Walloon counterpart of Sport Vlaanderen. They get funding from the Walloon government, just like Sport Vlaanderen gets from the Flemish government. Wisniewski is our Polish leader here for Quebec Assos, and two riders are trying to bridge across there. One of them being Cedric Bulens of Sport Vlaanderen, and the other is an unidentified rider still from Bingoal Wallonie-Bruxelles. But we'll get a few of them pretty soon. Struggling here at the back is Carlos Barbero, the Spaniard. He seems to have a mechanical. Don't know what is going on there. Still has the clarity to bring his bottle for those final 7 kilometers.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know if you really need it, though.
I doubt that you need it with the 7 kilometers to go, but yeah, nevertheless, it's having a sharp enough mind to grab it. It's yeah, showing that he's still got some energy left in his body to do that. But looks like one of the UNOX riders is having a move off the front here as well, and Wisniewski is opening up a nice little gap.
Yeah, we had 3 riders from UNOX in this group with Marcus Hulgaard, Rasmus Tiller, and Søren Werenskold. That is 3 Norwegian riders. So they still have a large presence in this group. And if you look at the wildcards for all the Northern Classics, it's the usual suspects. But it would have been great if UNOX development team or pro cycling team would have gotten an invite to a race like Gent-Wevelgem, for example. Back to the racing here, and there's still some firepower here. Mathieu van der Poel, of course, Tim de Klerk leading there. Let's see who is still there. We have Mark Cavendish still in this group.
I think with looking at how Mathieu van der Poel is riding at the moment and starting to move up towards the front to probably take a turn or two, he's definitely not riding for himself today. That's it's coming. If he's coming down to sprint, it has to be for Philipsen if he's still in there. I haven't spotted Philipsen in there, but definitely Tim Merlier is in there. So I think it's all hands on deck now to make sure this comes back to finish and try and set it up for one of those 2 rides.
Yeah, that race that I was referring to, where Lukas Wisniewski was on the podium together with his teammates, Iljo Keizer won that race, and Nicky Terpstra, was the Zeeland Ronde van Zeeland Seaports. And it was such a horrible day that only 20 riders finished that race. So it shows that he's quite a hard man when it comes to bike racing. It sounds like a great day out if you're you. If you're me, it's a day on Swift, for example. Marcus Hulgaard caught by the peloton, but that move by Wisniewski is still quite promising. He has one more cobblestone sector to go, 2 kilometers from now, Rue de Bellevue.
Yeah, and that is the key thing for if he can get across that one with a decent gap, he's standing a chance of pulling this off. But yeah, it's all going to come down to how much he's got left to go across those cobbles with, because they take an awful lot of energy to ride at a pace where they don't feel quite as bumpy as what they are, and cobblestones, usually the faster you go over them, the smoother they feel. And there's almost like a cut-off speed where you drop, 0.1 of a kilometer of an hour below that, and it's extremely hard work to get across them. So if he's got any legs left, but looking at this now, Van der Poel on the front there with the Koenig Quickstep behind, and Dries de Bont, also the Belgian champion, they're getting up and starting to work to help out with the pace making here. So I think Wisniewski's time is
running out.
Yeah, it's running out.
Well, I also worry about that long drag to the finish line. To be honest, there's Hugo Hofstetter, the rider with number 1, the winner of last year, and it was this slow uphill kind of dragging finish line. Ooh, someone taking a little shortcut there. This is game over for Lukas Wisniewski. And interestingly is that Mathieu van der Poel is actually leading the peloton, which means that they probably will play the Tim Merlier or Dries de Bont, or maybe even Jasper Philipsen.
Yeah, I think if I haven't spotted Philipsen in there, but if he's there, I would say that it's either for Merlier or Philipsen. But yeah, it remains to be seen at the moment. It's all just
cows on the run.
And this is Florian Sénéchal making a move across the cobblestones here.
And this is skill. Look at that. Wisniewski is, well, toast. Florian Sénéchal, Mathieu van der Poel. Sénéchal, of course, the winner back in 2019. Wasn't not enough to get him a place in the classic squad for the big races for the Koenig Quickstep. Kind of shows you what kind of wealth in riders they have. This was that final cobbled sector. Sénéchal is really giving it all. It looks like Mathieu van der Poel is actually struggling just a little bit.
Yeah, he looks like he's labouring on the bike. There's no doubt about that. And I don't think, well, it depends on now whether Quickstep decide to shut this down behind here. But it's going to be a touch and go whether they can make it back to the front again.
And Mathieu van der Poel, of course, is very capable of doing those dragging uphill sprints. First time that he became Dutch national champion in Hogerheide, that stretch of road where we also have the cyclocross world championships is a horrible place to sprint if you have lactic acid problems. So he knows that kind of sprint, and he's taking over from Sénéchal. Looks like Sepp van Mark is also there.
Yeah. Van Mark is going really well. If he had that problem with his bike, with the front wheel puncture earlier on in the lap, and has made it back and made it into this group, so he's clearly going well. Just trying to see who that Intermarché. I think that's Van Poppel.
It's absolutely one of them, indeed.
Danny Van Poppel.
Oh, that's an interesting sprinter, of course. He has a fast kick to the finish line as well, Danny Van Poppel, the younger of the two brothers.
I think it's worth noting as well, Jose, that at sprinting at the end of a race like this, where it's been as hard as it has been, and everyone, you can see that they're all working at their limit. It's a completely different scenario to sprinting when you're coming in fresh for a bunch sprint.
Looks like there is a little bit of hesitation in that first group of 5. They're looking at each other, which is, of course, interesting for the riders behind them. Attacked there by Sénéchal again. Former winner of this race, Mathieu van der Poel, Sepp van Marke.
I'm not sure on that move from Sénéchal there, because he's dragging everyone with him. He's going hard and he's hurting them behind, but they're still with him. And I'm afraid if you're making moves like that within the final 2 kilometers here, it's going to be very difficult to win the sprint.
This is not going to stick. We can see that Bingo Wallonie-Bruxelles is trying to bring it back. They have Timothy Dupont in that group, the sprinter. Already won a stage in Étoile de Bessèges, the second stage. Very, well, interesting bunch sprint with a lot of crashes going on. But we go towards that final kilometer. There they come across. Looks like Victor Kampenaerts again. Attacked there by Quebecer Assos.
I think that was Wisniewski again getting to the front here and just starting to keep the pace high.
And it's a lot of twists and turns in those final 3 kilometers, making it really hard to stay together as a team, actually. X is trying to get to that first group of 7. Van Marke still very attentive. Remember, Mark Cavendish is still in this peloton. Maybe he will have a go at the sprint here.
He was sat quite far back in the group, though, so whether if he can make a move, if he stops here, he can sort of get to the front relatively easily, then yes, he could still be a danger man for the sprint, but I haven't spotted him anywhere near the front.
Mathieu van der Poel leading this group, and it looks like it's for himself now. Final kilometer, where are his teammates? Where are the teammates for whom he's working? Looks like Tim Merlier is coming to the front there. Tim Merlier, former Belgian champion. A lot of riders there from Intermarché. They had 4 riders in the decisive break. And Mathieu van der Poel is doing a lead out for Tim Merlier on the right side of the road. We also see from Intermarché, Andrea Pasqualon.
Van der Poel's handlebars are broken as well.
Oh, wow. That is not good. We can see, he's not going to sprint on those. Victor Kampenaerts again trying, and look what Tim Merlier maybe can do. We go towards the finish line, the drag towards the finish line with a peloton of about 40 riders, with an attack by one of the riders of X. Is it Halvorsen?
Tiller.
It's the former Norwegian champion Rasmus Tiller, and Tim Merlier trying to get across. Tim Merlier for Alpecin Phoenix. Well, that's an early celebration, but he holds on. That was a risky move by Tim Merlier, celebrating so early. That could have been a Liège-Bastogne-Liège kind of moment. He was really, really confident of what he was doing there. But he wins Grand Prix SAMYN, Tim Merlier for Alpecin Phoenix, with Rasmus Tiller also there on the podium, the former Norwegian champion. And I think number 3 was Andrea Pasqualon for Intermarché, Vanti. Well, he's happy. Good catch there, Magnus, that handlebar by Van der Poel. I wonder when that happened. We didn't see him crash.
No, I don't think he crashed. I think it was more something happened to the bars on the cobblestones or even on the way out, because in the final kilometre and a half or so, something has gone wrong there. So, yeah, not ideal for Van der Poel, which meant he couldn't go for himself, and that may have been why we saw him very hesitant as well, trying to almost back the group back into the to the final. But great opportunity there by Victor Kampenaerts going again, and Rasmus Tiller getting a great lead out here from Kampenaerts. And Rasmus Tiller opening up very, very early. But Tim Merlier has got some legs, so he's coming from a really, really long way behind. You can just see gets a bit of a slipstream on Tiller when he sits down. And
that seemed like a little bit of a mistake by Rasmus Tiller, just sitting down and looking over his shoulder. Could have been a case of having no more legs left, of course.
I think that was the case. There was nothing left really, but he manages to get out of the saddle to hang on for second, which for a team like UNOSX and Rasmus Tiller is a great thing.
Well, Grand Prix SAMYN and first win of the Belgian Cup goes to Tim Merlier. Magnus and I are back on Sunday with round 2, the Grand Prix Montserrat. Well, this is not somebody asking for an autograph. This is probably anti-doping. So, well, you can ask an autograph anyways, but yeah, a great work there by the team. Tim Merlier, of course, also riding cyclocross, but a far better sprinter than a cyclocross rider, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but you know, he doesn't do too badly on the cross bike either, to be fair. But yeah, what a move by Tim Merlier. The end there, just managing to time everything. It looked almost like he was out of position with about 600-700 meters to go, but managed to find a way through and clearly had the legs in the end.
I still wonder, Magnus, how your handlebars can fall apart. It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen, but it does happen. Like with everything, the faults, they do appear, and unfortunately for Mathieu van der Poel today, it was he got a bad batch there of handlebars, I think.
Yeah, a friend of mine says it's a handlebar in two parts, that they come in two.
Oui, j'y pense le même ce matin. On a une bonne équipe ici.
We had a great team here.
Bien roulé ensemble. Et alors,
We have raced
je
well
suis
together
content. J'ai
and happy.
fini à la fin.
And with the
On a
results.
vu Mathieu qui revenait, on a vu un gros travail de Bond, vous étiez partout. On aurait dit une équipe Quick-Step pratiquement qui n'a pas vraiment pu s'exprimer parce que vous étiez une grosse équipe aujourd'hui.
J'ai pas bien compris.
L'équipe Quick-Step a eu des difficultés à faire de Wolfpack parce que vous étiez très fort en équipe.
They were having difficulties riding together as a wolf pack. Well, we had Mathieu, Jasper,
dans la bus aujourd'hui, c'est pour
and we
nous.
said before the start it
Et
was.
je suis content, je peux
And
gagner
we
pour
said
l'équipe
this race is
aujourd'hui.
for us.
Et bon, je suis très content.
Au final, c'était comme ça que c'était prévu. On s'est dit, vous vous êtes dit, c'est moi qui y vais. Bond a fait l'effort, Van der
Was
Poel a fait des
this
efforts.
the plan?
Et maintenant, c'est à moi de terminer.
Non, à un moment, Mathieu veut encore faire quelque chose, mais son bidon c'était
Yeah,
caché.
Mathieu really wanted to
Alors,
try in
il
the
a
end,
dit je vais rouler pour toi, aller pour le sprinter, et Jasper lui dit moi il
but he
était
said
pas
he
bon.
had a
Comme ça,
mechanical,
c'était
so
à
I
moi.
will give it
Mais
all for
c'était
you. Van der Poel said.
un petit truc sur le dernier pavé, comme ça Mathieu il est parti avec un petit groupe.
But we decided this only in the last pavé, the last
Le
cobbled
bidon
sector.
s'est caché. Et j'ai encore demandé.
He said on the radio that he couldn't sprint because his handlebars were broken.
Là, et tout vient ensemble et j'ai dit à moi, maintenant c'est à toi. Et
we raced
je suis
together
content,
in the end.
je peux faire pour l'équipe.
And I'm glad that I could finish it off for the team. And it shows, Magnus, how important those race radios are to be in constant communication with each other.
Yeah, they do. It is always important to have that communication, and yeah, it's unfortunate for Mathieu to have that problem today, but as long as the team is on the top step of the podium, then it's been a good day out. So I think the outcome is what the team wanted at the end of the day.
Well, we have a little summary here of the day with our breakaway with Enzo Leijzen of DSM. We have Joey Roscoff there of Rally. We had Jan-Willem van Schip and Timo Willems, unfortunately also crashed. There by Sylvain Monique, Magnus Sheffield, their bronze medalist in Harrogate, and then everything came back together. In this group was Mark Cavendish and Tim Elier. Not Mathieu van der Poel, and reached across with another group unfortunately some other crashes there. One of the riders of Beat Cycling on the ground with Yves Kolen. And then, well, the Koenig Quickstep had 6 of their 7 riders in that first group. Only Colombian Alvaro Hodge was not there, but they couldn't finish it off in the end. Mathieu van der Poel, very strong in the final 20 kilometers. An attack by Victor Kampenaerts going into the final lap here, 26 kilometers to go. And he has a lead of about 20 seconds at max from the peloton. Ludovic Roubaix of Bingo Wallonie-Bruxelles tries to bridge across, but it doesn't make it. And then we have an elite group and a little bit of a lull in the action, and Dries de Bont sees a chance to attack, gets company there by one of the riders from Sport Vlaanderen, Ballois. His first win came in the Tour of Antalya as the national champion of Belgium, and this year it's the Grand Prix SAMYN. Great teamwork all around by Alpecin Phoenix. Well, this was it from Wallonie. Sunny circumstances here in Belgium. Bit of a rough start with commentary between Magnus and I. Well, not that we don't get along, but we had a little bit of technical difficulties. But in the end, all went well. We'll be back on Sunday, Magnus and I, and enjoy Saturday with Strade Bianche. It's going to be a cracker. Well, the schedule on Saturday, go out for training in the morning, grab yourself some lunch, and then get on the couch for Strade Bianche. And on Sunday, a double program as well with Montserrat and Paris-Nice.
Elle est assez dure pour pouvoir faire la course.
Bad swap. Swapping your parking assist for a cheaper option. Good swap. Swapping your family shop to Aldi. Everything from wood-fired sourdough pizza to specially selected British